All right, I'm live. Probably no one's watching right now. I'm gonna wait to see if anyone joins. Just wait a few minutes. But yeah, I'm just gonna be reacting to some stuff, chatting in the chat if anyone wants to put anything in there. But yeah, actually, maybe I should just start doing something. Let's see. So I was gonna react to Rehab Room because I don't know. I see people, a lot of people talk about him. He's like probably like the number one most talked about person in whatever the BP, besides maybe clavicular. Um, but yeah, in the meantime, I found this article about guys who approach a lot and don't get laid. I was kind of curious about these cases because I was worried about maybe I could end up like this. I could do like over 1,000 approaches and not even get laid once, you know? So, like, this is Game Global. This is like a website for game or whatever. Has like some good articles on it, I guess. Um, let's see. I wonder if there's any way I can see chat while I'm doing stuff, or can I see chat right in OBS? Let's see. Well, I could just probably see it on my phone, I guess, if someone says something. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'll just watch it on my phone and I'll leave my phone up. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to see what people are saying otherwise. Um, but yeah, probably some people will come back and watch this VOD or something. Okay. So since the release of a recent video I have had numerous pickup artists message me about their situations. Guys who have done 1,000, 10,000, even 20,000 cold approaches and still didn't get laid. I decided to dig deeper. So it all started on Reddit. The author of this article said that he found some posts about people, some posts about guys saying that they went out for and did a bunch of approaches and then like didn't even get laid once. So you'd see people say things like, in my experience, it usually takes about 1,500 to 2,000 approaches before real results start showing. And I guess depending on what you mean by real results, I mean, that could be true. I mean, if by real results you mean like actually getting laid easily and being like, and consistently having good game, then yeah, that could probably be pretty accurate. But in terms of like having any results, like any real results in terms of like getting lays and stuff, it should probably start before that. Because like I don't know. I mean, like I've done 20 approaches. I've gotten four numbers. I'm thinking if you have a similar conversion rate to me, you should at least get laid once if you do like 1,000 approaches. Or if you do like a couple hundred approaches, you should probably, at least get laid once or be able to go on some dates. So I mean, it depends on what they mean by real results if people are saying things like this. But Ice White, the guy who wrote this article, said, as a natural, I had done zero cold approaches before getting into game and already had numerous girlfriends. Yeah, I mean, if you're a natural and you have really good social skills, I can understand how this would shock you. But for me, this isn't really shocking. You know, like I could definitely see some guys that don't have the best social skills doing that many approaches and not really getting anything. That's why I was kind of scared that I could end up like this. But obviously, it's a bit too early to tell. I don't think I'll end up like this. But and then I found like on this article, he posted like an example of a guy from Budapest, a member of Game Budapest. I guess that's some sort of group with this. Like and he said, I know it's probably outside of the reality of everyone here, but I did about 1,300 day game approaches and I got laid precisely 0 times. I was making detailed stats on it in the first year when I did 813 approaches in total. I've added a screenshot of my Excel sheet. So, I mean, I've heard of people categorizing their approaches on like Excel sheets and stuff like that, but this was probably the first one that I actually saw with my own eyes, and it kind of inspired me to make my own Excel sheet because before I was just keeping track of them on like a notes app on my phone, but I actually made this Excel spreadsheet with my data and all that. Um, and yeah, I want to keep doing this because like I think it's going to be good for analysis because I don't have a very high sample size right now. Um, all I have is 20 approaches spread out over literally a year. So, you know, it's not going to be, good data in terms of, drawing conclusions about what works and doesn't work because I'm still so new in the game. But, I kind of like this guy's idea of keeping track of the rate of getting numbers for each month because it kind of you can kind of see how your game progresses from month to month and see like is my success rate increasing or decreasing, and approach to date you can also see that. But for me, I mean, I don't have enough data yet to draw any conclusions like that. So my number jumped from like 0%, 0%, 0% to 14% to 43%. But that's with these very small, this very small amount of data. Like if I do 7 approaches, it could very easily be that I would do 7 approaches and just randomly I would only get one number because of just, chance. Or I could do 7 and get something like 3 or 4 numbers and then have like a very high rate of getting numbers. But, once I start doing like, I don't know, probably like 20, 30 approaches a month or something like that, then that could actually be useful data. But yeah, I guess my goal right now is to do 100 by the end of the year, I'd say. But let's see. And it's not that I'm fat or have a low salary. I don't think having a low salary is going to be um, the reason you're not going to have a high success rate. Let's see. Okay, that's the AC. I should probably turn it off if the mic's picking it up. I don't think having a low salary is going to be why you're going to have a low success rate. I mean, yeah, I don't think it would be because, like they can't really tell how much you make reliably from seeing you. Let's see. But yeah, I think what causes this is probably just if I had to guess, probably just I noticed this in the data. So his approach to contact rate, it varies a lot, but um I don't know. There are times when it's not that bad, like 16%. That's not too bad. Like it's hovering around 15, 16% in these earlier months. It's weird that he got worse that game, though. I would have expected he would have gotten better. Um, but yeah, this isn't a horrible contact rate. I've definitely heard of and seen worse than this. My guess is that, he's getting, let's see, how many dates did he got? He got 13 dates and he didn't get laid. I think that's probably a problem with struggling to get laid on dates. Um, because, I've had I haven't had that much trouble getting dates occasionally, but it's very hard to turn them into lays. Like that's probably even harder than getting a girl's number from approaching it. Definitely harder, I feel like. If you're inexperienced. Can you react to the First Man Tribe on YouTube? I have 57 subs. Okay, does it relate to what I'm doing, or I don't know. First Man Tribe? What is that? Oh, so this is okay. So this doesn't relate to anything I'm doing. He's just asking me to react to his videos. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna react to that. I'm sorry, because it doesn't relate to what I'm trying to do right now. But yeah, I wish you success on your YouTube channel. Um. So yeah, I want to figure out how to get laid on dates, because I've struggled with that. I just don't know how to create that, I guess, sexual tension or anything like that. Um, it just seems really hard to figure out how to do that, you know? And here's the hypothesis that he had about this. So long before people responded to my announcement, my mind had already been set on the idea that guys aren't seeing results through day game through a combination of reasons. So, day game is the least effective game, something I have believed for many years and then proved using data from the community. It depends on what he means by least effective. I mean, in terms of um, getting numbers, like it's probably harder than night game to find women that are receptive, looking to date. But I feel like day game is a bit better than night game for some other reasons. Less competition, probably less flaking. But I mean, he can say it's the least effective, but I'm sure you can. I know that it's great for developing like your social skills and all that. So I don't know. Is there like some data that kind of proves that message game is the most successful? Hmm. So 71% of men in the seduction community have had sex with a woman through message game, which is higher than any other pillar of game. Hmm. Well, okay. Well, this is just because if I had to guess, this is just because there are more guys that are using online dating than approaching, and I would say the same for social circle game, and the same for night game. It's like there are more people doing these than doing day game. Um, but also, I guess like he's saying that he's giving the percentage of guys who have done it who have gotten success. 81% of guys who do message game get laid, and only 19% of message gamers have never had sex because of message game. Well, I've never had sex because of what he's calling message game before. It's because it's easier to just stay in the apps than be consistent with cold approach. Most guys who try cold approach only do a handful of approaches. So only 21% of guys who have done social circle game have never had sex from it. Hmm. Okay. And this means that 31% of guys who have done gay game. Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be the least effective because people are quitting. You can say it's the least effective, but it's actually not the least effective if you stay consistent with it. I could say that every single cold approach, kind of pickup artist, got their start with day game. And day game is kind of how they built up their skills and all that. So, kind of skeptical. And also, like, there's a sample bias with that. I mean, probably not the sample, but I don't think the sample bias with it being, people from this community is it. I think it's more like that he's just not going into detail about what it means to try. You can try day game, and just approach a few women, but that's not gonna get you anywhere. Just approaching like 3 or 4 women, But if you're approaching like many women, then it's gonna be easier to find success from that. Okay, this community is also. Oh wait, I didn't. Okay, I didn't read this one. Day game has been popularized in a very specific and limiting way, with in-field videos and boot camps reducing people's understanding of day game to generally only being busy public places in cities. People forget about grocery stores, classes, transportation, workplaces, and much more. Okay, I mean, I don't think these are great places to do cold approach. Um, I guess like the best out of these would be probably grocery stores. I mean, classes. Is it really cold approach if you approach a girl from your class, from like a college class? Not really, because you're gonna see each other again. Transportation. I think transportation. That's horrible. Approaching a woman on the public bus or something like that is like a terrible idea. You know, because like public transportation. I'm not sure about like in other places if this is always true, but transportation in the U.S. Is generally going to have a lot of weird people, and people are going to be generally on guard. In workplaces, that's probably a bad idea, and it's not really cool approach either. And people are going out to do gay game instead of doing cold approach around whatever they happen to be doing in their daily life. Okay, I don't know of any examples that he's talking about with that. The community has also generally reduced cold approach day game to spam approach day game, a severe form of high volume game. And like stated before, this influences the limited types of locations people choose. Yeah, well, that's just because you have to do volume in order to have success with it. I mean, I'm sure this guy has plenty of experience with approaching. So I wonder why he seems to be, you know, anti day game or anti like the common idea of day game and like the pickup artist community or whatever. Infield footage, especially Riz Kid content, has been self popularized in such a way that it promotes what looks good on camera and shows what actually gets views, instead of more realistic and genuine conversation. This has taken a turn towards direct game, which puts a risk and reward rush before anything else. Direct game leads to a higher likelihood of rejection. Well, direct game also is probably going to lead to more um, more hot leads. You know what I mean? Like more leads that are like m- likely to lead to sex. Um, but yeah, I mean, this was an interesting article. I mean, it's cool that he kind of gathered some data and found some examples. Maybe I should watch this video in a second. I don't know. So I was gonna react to Rehab Room. Um, as for Rehab Room, I'd say he's like probably not one of my favorite black pillars. I mean, I watch a lot of his videos just because I find them interesting, but I just disagree with like a lot of what he says. Let's see. Hmm. I was gonna react to one of these videos. Let's see. I think I'm trying to find which one was good. Male suspension of disbelief. The radicalization of young. Okay. Rejection isn't personal. Let's watch this. He says a lot of like shit about pickup artists and stuff. You know, he calls. I'm pretty sure he calls like all cold approach cringe maxing or whatever. Okay. See if I can. Where the hell you been? Okay. I don't know. I have the quality down because I don't want it to just like slow down my computer and just make the live stream suck. There's some reason you're not answering your damn phone?
Lately, there has been an unfortunate narrative getting more popular. And I say unfortunate because I see it echoed here in this part of town as well. Don't use dating apps, just talk to women in real life instead, they say. I mean, it makes sense at first, right? They bring up the competitiveness of online dating in order to promote talking to women in real life.
When that same girl that probably wouldn't pick me on the app would give me a real chance if I could just man up and approach her. In real life, think about it. Online, it's you versus 1,000 other chuds. You took the three. It doesn't even actually matter if you airball that shit. No risk, no reward. And again, the same girl that will not talk to you on a dating app will give you a chance in real life. Like, you're starting at such higher odds. It's not even funny.
Oh, the girl who gave me her number in real life would have swiped left on me 100%. I mean, yes, compared to online dating, which is a lot more honest, a lot more straightforward, but yes. If you compare online attempts to daytime cold approach one-to-one, the chances of getting a phone number or even a date from one single attempt is higher in cold approach. That is true, but that doesn't mean it is a preferable strategy.
They don't give me notice really when they've decided, and I actually have to turn myself into custody. And then once I'm already in custody, they email my lawyer and tell them the decision they've made. So I have no idea what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. I'm just in this really up place right now. Based on how things go with my appeal, there are two options. Either the appellate court will order me a new trial, or I'll have to spend 3 years in jail for something I didn't do, and my life is essentially over.
And guys, you are gonna see a lot of content on TikTok and Twitter about daytime approach. But you gotta understand something. What you see on TikTok is only one that's rare, hilarious rejection or one success out of countless boring rejections, soul sucking rejections. Those accounts are just chasing clips, bro.
So, I mean, I disagree with a lot of what he said. The that that online dating apps are more honest. I don't think that's true. I mean, dating apps are more skewed and honestly dishonest about your value. If you went on a dating app, as an average guy, you would come to believe that the only women you could date were like threes. If you're an average guy with average pictures, you're gonna only get likes from like threes and maybe an occasional four. But in real life, you're gonna have more opportunities to get with women that are closer to your league. You know, and it's not even just that women are gonna swipe left on you on a dating app, but actually accept you in real life. A lot of it's just that they're not seeing your profile because it gets buried because so many women You know, like very few women are swiping right on it that see it. But, if it was actually shown to more women, then there would probably be some women that would um, swipe right on it. But it just gets buried because, you're not getting as much positive engagement as some other guys. So, in real life, you kind of force her to interact with you and force her to, you know, either reject you or accept you, whereas online, there are a lot of women that you want to, that you would want to talk to that just won't see you, even if you like them, they just won't see that you like them, because your profile will just be buried and they'll just match with the guys who get all the likes, who monopolize the likes. But, dating in real life is also hard. People that say it's just a problem of the apps are kind of misguided. And it's also just because um, the apps affect women's mentality in real life because every woman who has downloaded a dating app before knows the abundance of options they have. But it's still easier to get a positive response in real life. Your actual rejection rate is going to be much lower, because like on dating apps, like if a woman doesn't match with you and you like her, that's going to, that's going to count as a rejection, I guess. And I'm pretty sure like the average guy swipes right on like 1,000 Tinder profiles for like I don't know how many matches, wasn't it? I think I said this before. Swipes right on 1,000 Tinder profiles for 6 matches or something like that, something crazy like that. I'm pretty sure that's the exact stat. So if you think about that, that's like let me think, that's a over 99% rejection rate. That's a 99.4% rejection rate, which is just kind of insane. But in real life, your rejection rate's not going to be that high. In real life, your rejection rate's going to be like 80, 90% if you're an average guy. I'm not going to pretend like it's going to be lower, but you're going to get like some numbers, like 10, 20% of numbers, maybe 30%, or maybe even 5%, which is still much better than the rejection rate online.
Most attempts are going to be boring rejections that they are not going to show in their videos. Are you going to keep staring or are you going to do something about it? Why are you so nervous?
I'm not.
Honestly, I was coming up to you, and then and then you looked at me, and I was like, my green light,
Sunglasses on and still 70s.
So what?
So,
I'm just trying to look cool for you. Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I'm not the one that looks nerdy out here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is calculus.
I'm not gonna lie, it's cute though. You're missing the glasses.
The glasses?
Yeah.
I need glasses.
I need glasses.
You do?
Because you're blinding me with your beauty. This one, for example. Guys, the reason they might be more inclined to give their numbers or even go on a date with a dude who cold approaches is because it is insanely ego boosting to get cold approached in this day and age. So they are right in that sense. Yes, today man ain't gonna cold approach, which makes cold begging a rare event.
Why is it cold begging? You know? I mean, there are all these ways that he tries to frame it to get you to not want to approach. He calls it cringe maxing, you know, cold begging. He's trying to brainwash you, to think it's cringe. You could say that cold approach is cringe maxing, sure, but also isn't it pretty cringe to make black pill YouTube videos? Like most people would think that's cringe. So like, I guess we're both cringe. So whatever.
Women are getting an insane dopamine hit out of that the moment you do that. And the whoopie doopie is like, are you nervous? Bro, she ain't nervous. She's just cringing. Women are nervous either because they are scared of you or because they are attracted to you. She's neither. She's neither, bro. Why so nervous?
I'm not.
Even if it is coming from a chopped dude, a man broke the social code and cold approached. That is how much he was willing to risk getting humiliated. That just shows her how badly he wanna be a jester for her. Even if you are a sub 5, you might get reactions like that from women who are out of your league. I don't know what this guy in particular looks like, but even some of the sub 5 community members I know manage to get some numbers or even some dates from cold begging. You can get a reaction like that.
I mean, I don't think women are going on dates just because they want attention, you know? That they just want some guy to jester max for them. Like most of the time they're going on dates because they actually see potential in the guy, you know? But you could say that, they're gonna give numbers to guys just to be nice, but like women are not gonna go on a date with a guy just to be nice. Like that doesn't really happen.
Yes. Not because of your
Or even just to get attention.
body language or so-called game, but because you are giving her an insane ego boost, bro. An insane dopamine hit. She's gonna go to her friends that day and gonna be like, I can't even walk without man accosting me.
I'm Cloud. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hey, bud.
Ava, how are you?
Yes.
You guys doing?
We're here. We're here.
I know, what's your name?
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want.
Yeah.
Actually, wait,
But will you be able to keep up that dopamine hit after the first date? How much longer can you keep this up? Because she's gonna be expecting that feeling from you now. So it should be your face that is giving her that dopamine hit. Her lying her eyes on you, bro, should be the dopamine hit she's chasing. The reason why the chances of getting a date from a cold approach is higher is because it is easier to throw your ego out of the window, break the social code, showing how much you are willing to risk your pride. But the nature of that relationship, if you ever make it past the first date, of course, is always gonna be the one where she holds all the cards, bro. The one where you are expected to keep giving her those dopamine hits. What is gonna happen when you can't provide that? She's gonna be like, oh, you weren't like this when we first met. She's gonna blame you, bro. She's gonna be acting a certain way towards you. You say something and she's gonna pull the card. Oh, you weren't like this when you were begging me on the street. Remember that?
Bang. Like a dog. You can feel it. You can feel it when you talk to them. The dynamic, the way they look at you, they know in their heads that they are better than you. They really believe that they are better than you.
Because you
When I was begging those 100 women, I could tell they were looking down on me. I mean, it's not begging, you know? Begging is closer to what you like DMing women on Instagram. Or like liking their stories. That's begging, you know? But like if you're going up to a woman and confidently approaching them, that's not begging, you know? I guess the sub communication there is not that you're begging. It's more that, you've done this before and like you just find her attractive, you know? Like women could tell when you approach them that they're not the only woman that you've approached probably. Like based on your body language, like if you approach confidently, then that shows to them that like you're not, just some random guy um who just doesn't approach before, that just saw them and thought they were so beautiful that they had to, you know, break whatever social rule there is around not approaching and go up and talk to her. Um it's not really begging isn't really the vibe it gives off. The vibe it gives off is that you just um I don't know, that you just found her attractive and that you're like a confident, cool guy, ideally, if you approach the right way. So I don't think the characterization of it being begging really makes sense, because guys that are begging women are just like the simps that just, like their pictures online and all that stuff, you know? Because a guy who does cold approach, he gets rejected and he just walks away, But a guy who simps, he, likes a girl's story, or like, leaves a comment, doesn't get a response, and still continues after being rejected. Like he'll stick around and keep boosting your ego Whereas if you're a guy who approaches, you just approach a woman, and then if she doesn't give you, like, if she's not receptive, then you just walk away. So it's not really begging, because begging would be like, trying to convince her after she tells you no, or sticking around.
Already established the dynamics of the relationship. The moment you broke the rules and cold approached. Now, there is going to be expected from you. If you look at the results, yes, it might be true that cold begging might slightly get you more date opportunities, but the nature of it ain't gonna be it. Even if you're a sub-wife, maybe you can get some dates, but it has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with your game. You are just a cold beggar.
What's up?
This sounds spontaneous. Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. There you go.
I'm not from here, so.
Where are you from?
Poland.
Poland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Europe.
How do you like that? I know where Poland is. I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm a bit retarded. I
Why is he just including random Clav clips? Gesturing, trying to push the convo, more invested, overreacting. Even Clav is nervous in the presence of a pretty girl, and not some run-of-the-mill bimbo with a mid-face. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I've seen him with plenty of prettier women than that girl, so I don't know.
But I do know that.
Yeah.
So what made you come here?
Just vacation.
Vacation?
Yes.
To Miami?
Yes, to Miami, obviously.
Oh, how'd you get here?
Plane.
Who flew you out?
What's the name?
Someone got your flight here? Or?
Yes. I
Oh.
flew Yes. I
Oh.
flew
Who was the guy who got your flight?
I know guy. His parents.
Oh, your parents. Oh, okay.
I love Clavicular because of this, guys. He's not a top-notch BP theorist. I mean, Clavicular is Clavicular, an entertainment streamer, 19-year-old entertainer. But because of this, he's so valuable. I thought he was joking when he said he was autistic. The dude legitimately has zero game, negative game, and still, he was always a slayer. And you take that voice, his mannerisms, his lines, and put it in some sub-5, every normie under the sun gonna be like, "Oh, brother! Now it is clear why women don't like you. It is because you are an awkward motherfucker. But they can't do this for Clavicular. Guys, what comes out of your mouth has zero value. There is just a
Then why is he like showing and replaying the clip of her reacting to him being awkward, I guess? I mean, to be fair, I think that conversation was equally made awkward because of what she was doing and not just him.
smoke secret for people to use against you, to justify how they treat you. Because saying I am not attracted to you feels shallow. That is why they say, oh, you didn't have game, you didn't have charisma. Justification and rationalization is a very big subconscious driving force of human social dynamics. Game is Jester, and the end of Jester is always Jester.
Game is Jester. Okay.
If you get in Jestering, you get out Jestering.
The amount of girls from like your regular small town or like in-state community college who are in my inbound DM requests trying to get flown out to Miami. So when you think about the globalization of dating through Instagram, it's really to that degree that people are talking about. Like it's not hyperbolic at all. These girls are DMing like pro athletes, influencers, being the most hypergamous they ever have in the history of the world. So it's just insane how brutal that is.
They say, oh,
Yeah, I mean that's true. It's true that it's happening more and more, and it's like I do think that most girls are just gonna go after their local chads. Most of them are not gonna try to sleep with celebrities. you know? And like celebrities don't have all the time in the world to sleep with every single woman that DMs them. But, you know, but I mean the globalization of the marketplace, it affects women's psyche, you know? They see all these super attractive guys on social media, you know? It makes it hard for them to be attracted to just like a regular guy. Um so yeah, that's true.
Or yeah, social media are rigged against men. Too much competition online. Guys, just because you
I didn't realize how easy celebrities are. You can just DM any of them. It's like a 70% chance they message back. Hmm. Depends on how famous. That's easy. That's how they date. Women hit them up on social media and they have sex, then they move on to the next. Yeah, well, women still know that, but they're still gonna DM them.
don't want to use social media doesn't mean you are not affected by them just as much. You are still just as much affected. Cause the girl you called back can still order a better guy. Clavicular talked about that too. Says that completely normal. Regular chicks from state colleges hit him up. People talk like if you don't use social media, you are not affected by them just as much. Bro, the problem ain't me using it. The problem is her using it.
How many girls have messaged you that you see wedding photos on their Instagram?
I would say that one is a little bit more rare.
Or like a boyfriend?
That's pretty common. Yeah, that's definitely a common one.
Like once a week?
Yeah, sometimes I would even argue probably closer to every day.
I mean, that's not surprising. Most women are not loyal. Most men aren't loyal either, but like most men kind of have to be loyal because we have not that many options. Actually, um, yeah, women are just loyal to their emotions. You know, they're not going to stay with you when they don't find you attractive anymore. But, you know, guys aren't very loyal either. But the thing about us is that, um, you know, we're not gonna cheat just to end a relationship. Like most guys that cheat, they um they cheat just out of horniness or whatever. But I don't know why I'm going on this tangent, but you know, yeah, most women are not going to be that loyal. If they get hit up by a higher value guy, there's like a decent chance they'll cheat, you know?
Even if you are sub for them, and you go up to them and ask them very intelligent questions such as, is that indeed pizza for real or something else? 95% of the time, she ain't gonna tell you to fuck off. She's gonna be nice. You might even get her number. But
Is that I don't you know, I kind of trust YBC. I don't think he was actually trying to approach that girl. Um You know, like the black pillars probably won't understand, but a large part of game is like you just like self-amuse, you know, or you just you know, you just get practice with approaching. You know, I see pickup artists do that all the time. They recommend like approaching women that you're not attracted to. Well, not even approaching them, going up to women you're not attracted to, and just like I don't know, giving them a compliment and then leaving or something like that. You know.
the relationship you are gonna get out of that will always end the same way. Always, bro. Where your role is just keeping up that bar.
I mean, you could say the same for a social circle. It's even worse for a social circle with the, you know, the gesturing and all that. You know, because you know, a lot of the time women will get together with a guy in social circle just because of convenience. Cold approach, I would argue, it's a better way to get genuine desire. Like, probably just as reliable at finding a woman who genuinely desires you than like dating apps would be. So like, I don't know why he's acting like the dynamic is going to be screwed up because you cold approached her.
The bar that you set yourself. Cause the end of Chester is Jester. Go ask those guys. How were you treated in that relationship? Who was in charge? Who prioritized the relationship more? Did she give you the chat treatment? How did it end? Was it you or her who ended it? You are gonna realize that the answer,
I mean, women initiate most breakups.
the real answers questions are always the same. Because if you enter a relationship woofy doofy, you are gonna exit it an woofy doofy. That is why I say, come woofy, go doofy.
The truth is, you're not afraid of rejection. You're afraid of what you think it means about you. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't personal. It's just data. That's it. It's an instant feedback signal. Wrong timing, wrong vibe, wrong delivery, maybe even just the wrong girl.
And one of their major talking points I wanna address. And this is something they all say, bro. You hear this.
I mean, I think he's right that it's not, a lot of the time it's not about you. Like, most of the time it's not about you. You know? Women are actually way more likely to accept a guy when they're ovulating. This is like, a weird thing that was found out through studies, but like women who get approached are way more likely, like several times more likely to accept it if they're ovulating. So, yeah, that's a big difference. It's like women vary a lot, on how receptive they're going to be to an approach, A lot of women are, just not looking, well, not looking to date, you know, or just like some women are more picky than others and you can't really control that. It doesn't say anything about you specifically, you know? Like most of the time. And most of the time the girl doesn't even know that much about you. She knows like what you look like and that what you said and kind of like your body language, but that's one moment captured in time. She doesn't know the totality of who you are. So yeah, I would say that Base Zeus or whatever, I'm pretty sure that's this guy's name. I would say that he's mostly right about that.
From everybody. Or yeah, bro, just shake it off. Rejection ain't personal. In reality, rejection is the most personal thing you can go through. Dating scene is the most personal metric in any society. It never lies. Dating never lies. I mean, after I made my last week's video,
I wouldn't say that. I mean, like they really don't know that much about you when you just approach them. They don't know that much. They don't really have that much information about you from like a 30-second approach or whatever.
Study came out showing the dating preferences in Germany, a country where the vast majority of young women
what?
vote far left.
Oh, I accidentally did picture in
They
picture
will
or
say,
whatever.
oh, everybody's the same, I don't see color. Study came out showing the dating preferences in Germany, a country where the vast majority of young women vote far left, radical left. They will say, oh, everybody's the same, I don't see color. But when it comes to dating, the result is obvious. Because attraction is the most honest metric of.
I mean, I definitely agree that the JBW pill is real. It's way easier for white guys to get laid. Like, I'm sure the fact that I'm white really helps me a lot. It's like if I were non-white, I'd have less SMV. But if you're like Syrian or Afghani and you live in Germany, maybe you could just try to date women of your own ethnicity. I don't know why you have to like want to date white German women. It's like I don't know. It's like what and these women will like white guys better too. But it's like it's not going to be as strong of a preference, a negative preference. Yeah, I mean, actually, no, that probably doesn't work. Just saying, just date women of the same ethnicity. They're probably going to be less likely to accept you too. But if you're like a non-white guy, especially if you're like Middle Eastern or something, or like Indian or whatever, East Asian, you should just try to date women of your own ethnicity because like you're gonna have a higher hit rate than if you're trying to date white women because white women are mostly gonna want guys that are white. But
Society. There's nothing more personal than that, bro.
You guys, I did more approaches that weekend than most guys will do in their entire lives, and the worst possible response I got from an actual day game approach was a smile on her face with, "Oh, sorry, I have a boyfriend," or her just walking off. On Saturday, there's this one chick holding a pizza box, right? And I went up to her, and I was like, "Yo, is that a pizza box?" She goes, yeah. And she was just giving me attitude. And I'm like, "All right, can I have a slice?" You know, just a normal question, can I have a slice? You could say no, you could politely decline. And then she goes, "No," and fuck right off. Like, she was just being a complete bitch. And I look at her and I'm like, "But you're literally a sub 5. Like, who do you think you are?"
Rejection from in real life approaches are a lot more personal than online too.
I mean, imagine if he just decided that he was a sub 5 because a sub 5 girl rejected him. Yeah, sub 5 women are gonna reject guys that are way better looking than them all the time. You know? Like, I'm sure YBC has had plenty of dating success, and he's Middle Eastern, so I don't think being non-white necessarily makes it over for you.
Because you are so far away from invoking primal attraction, even throwing your ego out of the window wasn't enough. Breaking social roles wasn't enough. That is how far you are. But what is their solution? Oh, bro, just suspend your disbelief and think that it wasn't personal to save yourself from the trauma. You have been brutalized, but just don't realize that you have been brutalized.
I mean, it's not all trauma, you know? It's not all trauma, because a lot of the time you're gonna get success from it, you know? Well, not a lot of the time, but sometimes you will have success. Sometimes you'll get numbers. You know, you'll have wins in between all the rejections, you know? That'll keep you going. That'll keep you motivated to keep going. You know, like I've had that happen to me too. Like I thought about quitting cold approach when I went through a bit of a stint where I was getting nothing but rejections. You know, like I did a few approaches in a row that didn't go anywhere. I was like, this kind of sucks. But you know, once you know get the results, get the number, then that'll keep you going because you're like, this can actually work. I can actually go up to a woman and get her number, and that could possibly lead to something. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna click off this video. I was gonna react to Wheat Waffles actually, because he's been putting out some interesting stuff recently. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see his videos. Game theory: why 90% of men are invisible. This makes you know, I think I know what this is gonna be about. Top 10%. So game theory? I can you explain it with game theory? I wonder if you can. Maybe I should watch this. I'm just gonna check out some of his shorts real quick.
I said before, girls are very typey. Most girls have a type. And if you deviate from her type by the smallest amount, then there's a strong chance she'll give you instant F tier. Or at best, waste your time for jester. Just move on. Don't try to prove to yourself otherwise by thinking, if I only had better game or said this one thing, then it would have worked with her. No. If she truly liked your looks and viewed your genetics as premium, then she would have given you premium treatment. Girls are happy to jump through all your hoops when she finds you attractive. There is no winning girls over with game.
I mean, obviously I disagree with that. You know, it's like you can raise interest levels, you know, and like why would you expect us to get Chad treatment? Why would you expect Chad treatment if you're not Chad? You know, yeah, if she really, really likes you, then she's gonna make it easy for you. But like most women you encounter are not gonna really, really like you. If you're an average guy, the only women that are gonna really, really like you are probably like women that are sub five, like 3 out of 10, like not even sub five, like below, like a three or below, are gonna be the ones that are giving you these S tier signals.
And oftentimes, it's just kicking the rejections down the road so you can later delude yourself into thinking you got rejected because of poor game and not looks, which is painful. That's why game is a cope. Just accept your looks will be the main reason for whether a girl will give you a chance or not. And all other factors like game, personality, blah blah blah, are copes and won't have an impact on the outcome. I said before, girls are very typey. Most girls have a type.
I think he put out a good
And if you
good
deviate
video
from her type,
a few days ago, or like a few weeks ago. I don't remember.
I've noticed one of the biggest fears in the BP community is the BP itself. If you are truly BP'd, then why are you even running game? You know it's pointless.
Okay, well this wasn't the video I was
You
talking
know she's
about.
already made up her. Game is mostly a cope because guys often try to force it in. Another reason I think looks maxing as a cope is because it's often a distraction.
Oh, this was the video. This was a good video. This was a good video. Yeah.
Another reason I think looks maxing as a cope is because it's often a distraction from exposure maxing. As in, guys will looks max trying to cope with their approach anxiety. You might not believe it, but I promise an average guy will get better results if he's at a club and approaches 10 girls than if there's some try-hard looks maxer who's not approached anyone and instead is standing in the corner squint maxing, waiting for girls to come to him. The try-hard looks maxer will get nothing and will be confused why he's getting no attention. Whereas the average dude who's approached 10 girls, he will fail a lot of the time, but occasionally he'll get some interest if the girl thinks he's her type or she's in the mood to meet a guy. This is why I believe once you've looks maxed to a reasonable degree, got all the basics under your belt, it's better to then focus on exposure and expanding the number of girls you can bring into your life. And that's when you'll see the number of weekly days you go on increase than staying at home looking for the next looks maxing hack.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. Let's check out that other video, that game theory video. Let's see.
Ask any woman who's used dating apps what she hates about them the most. She'll probably tell you a couple of these things. 1. There's too many low quality options and the men are so desperate. 2.
Okay.
There ends up being just too many messages to reply to. 3. For the occasional handsome guy, they either just want to F or barely reply. It's interesting because they actually did a study confirming these complaints are real. I asked AI for a study showing women's biggest complaints, and data from Pew Research conducted between 2020 and 2023 showed the top 3 complaints women had regarding apps were
men continued contacting them.
This is so funny. These are the biggest issues. Men continue contacting them. You can just unmatch or block them. Like, that's not. It sounds like a first world problem. Received unsolicited. Okay, well. I mean, whatever. Felt overwhelmed by how much attention they're getting. Wow, it sucks to have so many options, you know? It's really tough. Must be really hard.
After rejection, 60%. Receiving unsolicited sexual messages, 57%. Feeling overwhelmed by the amount of attention or messages, 54%. These roughly line up with these complaints. And now, the reason that I think women report specifically these complaints can be explained by this game theory chart. Imagine these boxes as the options women have on dating apps. Now, of course, the sub-8 looks category is a lot bigger than the chat category because there's a lot more average to below average guys than there are attractive guys. And I'll confirm this in an upcoming Tinder experiment. As you can see, majority of dudes here are barely average looking. Maybe this dude at the end is the only one that could fall up here. And there's also a personality.
Yeah, because most guys are average looking. I don't think guys on dating apps are any uglier than the guys outside. It's just most women think that. You know, I'm sure he agrees with this. Most women think that most guys are not good looking enough.
Split. How is this distinguished? Well, this is a guy that I would say has good looks but a bad personality. When girls match with this guy, they know he's going to be dismissive, impatient, making fast moves. This is a guy with a good personality and poor looks. These are the types of guys that women complain about being too needy, too many messages to respond to, too many guys, because there's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. So these two guys are the two most important on the apps. When it's the handsome guy with the bad personality, this is where women will often have the complaint of receiving unsolicited sexual messages. And when it's the good personality, poor looks guys, this is where the complaint is feeling overwhelmed by the amount of attention or messages, or men continuing to contact them after rejection. Now, why is it like this? Take a look at this study. This asks people who have used online dating sites in the last 5 years
So far I agree with this video.
whether they feel they receive too many messages, just the right amount of messages, or not enough messages. And not surprisingly, when we look at the men, 57% said they don't feel they receive enough messages.
You know, I think a lot of this is influenced by ego. Like, I guarantee 36% of men, I got just the right amount of messages, bro. It's like, no, for most guys, it's fucking gonna be brutal. You know, it's not like all these guys, like, they're getting plenty of messages. It's just they have an ego about it. And they want to seem like they have women and options, but they don't. Most of them.
And of course, that's these average to below average guys here. 6% said they received too many messages, which is usually going to be these guys. And it shouldn't be surprising once you're in the top 5%.
Even those guys don't get that too many messages. You know, even if you're a Chad, it's like, I doubt you're going to be overwhelmed by women fucking trying to talk to you. It's like most women are not going to initiate, but...
of looks, and you're matching with girls left, right, and centre, this is when the guys just stop caring, becoming impatient, filtering for the girls who are going to move the quickest, so they start sending these sexual messages, which some women might indulge in, otherwise these guys wouldn't send these types of messages, but clearly a bigger proportion of women are upset by it. Or it's because they want a relationship with this guy, but clearly he's not that interested. Meanwhile, for these 57% of men who say they don't get enough messages, that's what causes 30% of women saying that they receive too many messages. Because these guys end up becoming so desperate, they'll start swiping on every girl, sending a message to every match, even the ones they're not that interested in. And if that doesn't work, it's double, triple texting. And this behaviour is mainly coming from these guys. The guys who are trying to give themselves a chance, but didn't have the looks that women are going to consistently match with. That's what ultimately causes these complaints in women of feeling overwhelmed by the amount of messages, and men continuing to contact them. In fact, I saw a funny clip recently highlighting this one perfectly.
So as you can see, these are the types of dudes who'll double message, triple message, be needy, even if he was left undelivered for hours. Now, you might be wondering, what about this box? What about the guy with good looks and a good personality? Well, this is an example of a guy who I think ticks both of these boxes. Obviously, it's just a picture. This guy could actually be a terrible person. But just for the sake of explaining, we'll assume he has a good personality. So, why doesn't every girl choose this guy? Well, there's actually a more obvious reason for why girls aren't choosing him. And it's this person right here. Yeah, he has a girlfriend. So in most situations, you'll find these guys aren't on apps because they are already in a relationship. Or
That's a good point. You know, I honestly, this is a good video. I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's like I'm not thinking about like dating apps from a perspective of a Chad, but it's like if you're Chad and you're on dating apps, you're not going to be on dating apps because you're looking for a relationship. Because like you're going to be able to find a relationship pretty easily. You're going to be on the dating apps because you're looking to hook up, which is going to be the guys with the bad personality. I didn't think about that. I thought that I didn't think that there would be a selection bias with it with dating apps where it's just like all the only the players like the most attractive men with bad personalities are going to be on them. I didn't think about like the chads that have good personalities. Yeah, they would definitely steer clear of dating apps because they would just find you know a woman that they find attractive for a long-term relationship and just wouldn't bother with it.
if he does download a dating app, he'll often find someone in the first couple days because he's got the looks to get a lot of matches.
Yeah, and that's like for most guys that's not going to happen. The idea of finding finding a woman to date long term after a few days on dating apps, that's crazy. But yeah.
And he's got a good personality. He's nice and wants to be with a woman who's on his level. And that last part's important because obviously there'll be girls who try to get with him who are clearly below his level. This woman might try to get with this guy and she might even match with him. But ultimately, guys like this, who tick both boxes, are usually wanting to get someone who's on his level. So for these types of women, they usually end up having to go for the bad boy Chad guys or the nice dudes who are actually on her own looks level. But she doesn't find these very attractive, so she ends up stuck on the apps for ages. That's why often you'll find it confusing as a man. Girls who are on your own looks level aren't matching with you. And you sometimes see the same profiles of women 6 months to 2 years later after deleting and re-downloading the apps. So clearly her
I mean, yeah, you do see a lot of the same girls on dating apps. That's true.
standards are too high. But of course, for a woman who's more attractive, she might have a better chance of getting with a guy like this. Anyway, now getting to the most important game theory for this video. So there was a study published recently of 2,000 participants, and they asked both men and women, do you have a positive or negative view of the opposite gender? And shockingly, the people who said they dislike the opposite gender.
I mean, let me guess what he's gonna say. It's because their view of men is negatively is like polluted because of their experience with these like f boys on the apps and stuff.
Most were women under 25. Look at this box here. It shows 27% of women under 25 saying they dislike men. They dislike men purely because they are men. Meanwhile, for men under 30, just 7% said they dislike women purely for being women. And 72% said they have a positive view. 10 times higher, which is absolutely not.
Yeah, I would say I'm definitely not in blue here. I'm not gonna say if I'm in red or if I'm in brown or whatever, but like I'm definitely not in blue. I'll just say that.
Mind-blowing. Because given the amount of talk you hear in the media of men being sucked into rabbit holes, following bad influences, consuming harmful content, men still have an overwhelmingly positive view of women. And in actual fact, it's women who are having their minds warped by the things they see online. And it's to the point where there's nearly an equal chance if you picked a woman at random in real life that she'll have this negative view compared with a positive one. Whereas if you picked a man at random, there is a 10 times chance he holds a positive view of women compared to finding a man that hates them. So anyways, why is it like this?
Why do women hate men so much more for men just being men? Well, I think the answer can be explained with this game theory. When women participate on dating apps, and most dating does happen on dating apps nowadays, they're mainly coming into contact with these type of guys. The men with good looks, but terrible personalities. The dudes who just want to have fun and take women for a ride. That's why, have you ever heard from a woman? It seems every time she brings up an ex, he was a liar, manipulator, a narcissist. It's because they're usually interacting with these guys. They often aren't meeting the good guys because these guys aren't on the apps. And if they are, they only want to get
Is he gonna talk about the guys that are sub 8 looks but have bad personalities as well?
with someone on their level.
He's probably just gonna say that most women wouldn't even bother with those guys.
Ways. So this box is essentially removed. And as for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guys down here, to most women, these are more or less invisible. In fact, it doesn't matter if he has a good or bad personality, this whole section is invisible. Because these guys are getting rejected on looks alone. At most, she'll match with a couple of these guys for the love of the game. But she's not serious about guys in this box. And that's shown because she's leaving these dudes on red for hours. So this massive...
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The apps are really skewed. You know?
This section is essentially gone as well. And that means the majority of the guys that women are interacting with on these apps is dudes who look like this, and this, and this. The guys who are leading women on, talking to multiple girls at once, and ghosting her after the first time if they ever met up. That's what's causing this shocking number of 27% of women to hate men for just hating men. They are only seeing these men. Now, I know some guys are going to cope and say, oh, but this isn't true. Women aren't only matching with these guys. Okay, then who are the girls matching with then? Are you matching with them? Maybe as a beta jester before she inevitably leaves you on red. But who are the guys she's actually meeting up with? I promise, if you looked at any woman's DMs on any app, not just Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, even Instagram, the dude she's taking more seriously, I promise they look like these guys. But you have to see it with your own eye.
Or they have status. I mean, it's not just about the way they look. You know, they could have status, like there's some sort of, douchey Miami Lambo guy. Those guys, get women because of their higher status. But I agree with him. Yeah, they are mostly going to encounter the guys that are like the most attractive, but also have bad personalities. So the guys that are in the top 10%, top 5% in looks, but also have bad personalities, are not looking to commit or treat a woman right.
To believe it. And when the women interact with these dudes, we all know how it eventually goes down. Anyway, bringing back the 4 quadrants of the chart, we can assign names to each of the boxes. So the good looks and bad personality box is who I like to call the drowning in matches, or dim, which to be honest reflects a lot of their character. As for the good personality,
that was a good joke.
It's already in relationships. So air, again a fitting name, because for most women, this box doesn't really exist. How about the bad personality and poor looks section? Haven't really spoken about this yet. Well, these dudes are just invisible. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say about this section. If a man has no looks and no personality, why would a woman even want to associate herself with him? But interestingly, this box is also invisible, at least in the romantic sense. But it's granted that some women will want to have this guy around for his good personality, which basically turns him into the gesturing normie. But like I said, in the romantic sense,
I wonder if these guys actually get better responses than the. I'm pretty sure if you're a guy and you act a bit more like this, you're gonna get more positive responses than guys who act like this, even if you're sub 8 looks, Because if you act like a douche, if you act like a complete asshole, a lot of women might actually think that you're up here because of the way you're acting. If you act more high value, they might just think that you're actually up here. You're actually like Chad SMV, even though you're sub 8 SMV, because you gaslight them with You know, how you act kind of like a player, confident. I think that's true. I think that it's better to be in this quadrant, honestly, than to be just like a nice guy who gets walked all over. You know? And just because, you don't have to actually be like an F boy or like a narcissist, kind of toxic, dark triad guy in order to get laid. But, don't act like a nice guy. Maybe lean a bit more towards here. And I think actually, probably for a long term relationship, most women are looking for a guy who's good personality and Chad looks. Like that's what ideally most of them want. Some of them are probably gonna prefer a bad personality guy for a short term relationship. Though, like I agree that it's definitely a selection bias on the apps because like the guys that are good personality and Chad, they're just gonna find a woman, find a woman pretty quickly, settle down, commit. If a guy's like really good looking and he's on the apps for a long period of time, it's probably just because he's sleeping with a bunch of women.
However, I've noticed it's quite common for guys who started here to try to move across to this zone, which is what I call niceification. So you'll often see sub 8 looks guys try to be nice to women, whether it's in a fake or real way, because they think it will land them more of a chance.
There's a lot of cope around that. They say like there's a difference between nice and kind. No, there isn't. It's because women don't find guys that are nice or kind attractive for those reasons, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like and it doesn't even matter if you're authentic about it. Even if you're authentically nice, women still don't really like that.
And they'll do this because they've often been told from the media that if he wants a girlfriend, he just has to be nice.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much the exact opposite. Most guys have to be less nice.
Or he's reinforced from his own experience.
To women, I mean, when trying to date them.
That when he's nicer to women, it sometimes leads to her replying to him more. But unfortunately, that's usually in the context as a friend, not the boyfriend, which is the guys up here. And as a matter of fact, the game theory goes further because you'll often see that girls are more wanting to try to get these dudes and convert them into this box. They would rather try to get a guy with a bad personality and good looks and make him the boyfriend, even though he doesn't necessarily want it. And that's why women will often tell you that you
Yeah, and that doesn't work for them. That doesn't work out for them very much.
just need to be nice. Because for these dudes, it literally is a matter of just be nice. But like I said, because the bottom two tiers are invisible, to her, it's true that if she tells the dude she wants to just be nice, then all of a sudden these men could be in relationships. But she doesn't realize that your lack of success is actually because of a lack of looks, rather than a lack of personality.
I mean, if you act beta, then it's also going to make it harder. But I agree that on dating apps, it's definitely very skewed by looks. But it's also because they're just acting more beta that, they're not getting good responses. If you act like a complete simp, then a woman's going to treat you like a complete simp.
Or she's just flat out lying and tells you one thing and does another. But anyways, another point is, for these guys, it's often the case they don't even want to have a good personality, because they've got so many options. For these men, it's the opposite of niceification. And if anything, for the good-looking guys, there's more dudes who end up adopting a worse personality once he's reached a certain level of looks. Because when you've got options, you can end up being nitpicky and dismissive, ghosting someone as soon as they step out of line, as soon as they don't give you exactly what you want right now this second, just like how women with loads of options end up treating you. So based on what I've seen, there ends up being more attractive guys falling into this category. I'll put it this way, imagine if you're a celebrity, and there's hundreds, literally hundreds of people queuing up to meet you and get your autograph. Now, imagine if the dude at the front of the queue asks, can you write a long, personalised message? Then all of a sudden, it's get the hell out of here. The celebrity has hundreds of people desperate for his attention. If a person asks for too much, get out of the way, there's plenty of other people waiting in the line. And that's not necessarily because the action itself was asking for too much. Because it's often the context. Imagine if there was a different person, less famous, maybe 100,000 YouTube subscribers, If the first fan ever recognized him public and asked him the exact same thing, then there's a way higher chance that he'll be receptive to it and happy to do it. People's self-perceived options always affects their attitudes. And you don't need to believe me on this, but they even did a study proving this is true. I spoke about it as one of my 8 studies video, which you can check out afterwards. Anyway, getting back to the chart, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is when we bring back the 3 biggest complaints women have from dating apps. In the same study, they also asked for men's biggest complaints. And the biggest complaint, which 71% of men reported,
Not enough matches?
there are 0 prizes for guessing correctly what it was. Quite obviously, it was not receiving enough messages/matches. This shows quite evidently for the bottom 70% of men, they are feeling completely invisible. The next biggest complaint, 57%.
Okay, I'm surprised that ghosting isn't here. That's a big problem. Women just randomly ghosting.
Or seeing dishonest or misleading profiles, which you know how it is.
Like, women will just ghost. Like, just stop talking to you for no reason. It just sucks, you know? Like, a lot of the time, like, you think something's going well, they just leave. And honestly, like, you know, text game is very important, but a lot of the time they're just leaving because they know that you're disposable. They know that they can find another guy. You know, their interest level wasn't as that high to begin with. You know, like, well, a match doesn't necessarily mean that the woman's like super interested in you. It probably means like low to mid interest, like better than no interest, but like a lot of the time they're just gonna end up ghosting you anyway, which is like probably the most frustrating thing about dating apps, in my opinion. Besides, you know, not getting enough matches. Like I can relate, you know, not getting that many matches on like Tinder or whatever. Um, yeah, that can suck. Just sending a bunch of likes and messages and only getting a few responses back, if any. Yeah, that sucks.
A woman will look like this in the pictures, only to show up in real life and look 2 to 3 points worse. And lastly, 27% being called.
Oh, I didn't even think. I thought that that was more just about like spam profiles, but yeah, that could also be included with women just kind of catfishing with their pictures. I had like 2 experiences with that where like I met up with a woman from the dating apps and they were like way heavier, like way less attractive in real life. Like one girl, I literally couldn't even recognize her because she was so much fatter in real life. She probably used like old pictures from like a year before, and she gained like, God, probably like 50 pounds or something. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I didn't end up like pursuing a second date with that girl, even though she seemed like she was interested because she was like definitely not attractive. And the craziest thing is that from her profile, I would have guessed that she was like a 5 or something, but when she showed up in real life, she was like, honestly, like a 3.
Offensive names, which probably happens because of the amount of attention and messages that women get, so they end up being dry or straight up rude to your polite offer. That's the power that.
Yeah, that happens a lot too. Yeah, women just like, you know, treating you like you're worth less than dirt, you know? It's like, yeah, it's very common.
Comes with being a woman or an attractive man on these dating apps. Anyway, that's all the content that I have for today. Now, if you want to find out where you stand, to find out if you.
Okay, well, that was a good video. I'll leave a like on that. Let's see. Okay. Oh yeah, this Hexam Light guy. Didn't he do a stream with Hexam Light? You know, I like Hexam Light. The only thing I didn't like was that he made a video. Um, he keeps making like doing live streams and stuff with what's that guy's name? That Master guy from like the incel forums, like the Looksmax forums. That guy is like a terrible person because he ran that like suicide, pro suicide or whatever forum. So yeah, I don't even know like how anyone knowing that could associate with him because that guy's actually linked. That guy's website is actually linked to real deaths that happened. But yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch this. It's too long, I think. But okay. Okay, he did a stream with Turbo BP. That actually has 35,000 views. Wow. That's a lot. Why We Waffles and YBC Too Cold. I think I watched that already. The Manosphere is utter garbage right now. Oh wait, he put Playing with Fire is great. That was from 3 years ago, actually, but I don't know. I'm surprised that he would put Playing with Fire is great because Playing with Fire was well, Playing with Fire is like not a black pill guy at all. But oh yeah, there's a funny video that I wanted to show you all. Wait. I was trying to find this. There's this video he made about wait. About YouTube moderation. Turbo BP made a video about wheat waffles. Wait. Okay. Not this video. I don't know why I can't find it. It was this. Okay. This is a funny video. Whatever. Wheat waffles and Austin Summers on attraction. The debate that should have happened. That should have happened. I think he meant I think Turbo VP meant shouldn't have happened. Okay. Oh, no, this is like a longer short.
This Black Pill debate is probably the second or third worst debate performance from Wheat Waffles. Neither Austin nor Wheat debated perfectly, but I just want to focus on these three mistakes that Wheat Waffles made that should be avoided in this sort of debate. Wheat Waffles did not pick up on a key point of disagreement that's indicated by one of the things Austin said. For context, Austin Summers cited evolutionary psychology in his opening argument.
If you ask the literal most cited psychologist other than Freud in human history, which is David Buss, he says women have 6 adaptive problems that they are solving for when they're looking for a mate. The first one is a mate who is able to invest, and each of these has evolved mate preferences. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to go into all mate preferences. I'll mute myself. Dating, which includes a man's ambition, his industriousness, financial prospects, social status.
Page unresponsive. Well, whatever. I'm not gonna watch this probably. I was looking for a different video. But it was like a video that Wheat Waffles made about YouTube moderation. I'm trying to go back to one of these. Wait. Exit page. Okay, well, let's just go back. Well, yeah, if you're watching and you want me to react to something, just leave it. As long as it relates to, you know, what my channel's about. Like dating and stuff like that.
This Black Pill debate is probably the second or third worst debate performance from Wheat Waffles. Neither Austin nor Wheat debated perfectly. I just want to focus on these 3 mistakes that Wheat Waffles made that should be avoided in this sort of debate. Wheat
I guess
Waffles
I'll watch this. This seems interesting.
did not pick up on a key point of disagreement as indicated by one of the things Austin said. For context, Austin Summers cited evolutionary psychology in his opening argument.
If you ask the literal most cited psychologist other than Freud in human history, which is David Buss, he said women have 6 adaptive problems that they are solving for when they're looking for a mate. The first one is a mate who is able to invest, and each of these has evolved mate preferences. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to go into the evolved mate preferences.
I'll mute myself.
Dating, which
This debate was funny. It was kind of funny how like like Austin Summers said that he was gonna like do like a 20-minute opener or whatever. Because he was like, that's how debates work. And then Wheat Waffles was like so confused because he's used to like internet debates. To be fair, I think I was more on Wheat's side because that did seem a little long for like an intro to a debate just to go on like a 20-minute monologue. I think Wheat Waffles was so against it just because he didn't have anything like that prepared.
includes a man's ambition, his industriousness, financial prospects, social status, social skills, or size, muscularity and height, bravery, and athletic ability.
Wheat responds with evidence that shows young women aren't looking for partners to raise families with, not until they get to older ages, and many modern women don't have children at all.
Oftentimes you do get like these studies that come out and they look based on like evolution what women would have went after. However, what I mainly want to say is that in the modern day things have changed, and the first point I had is, first of all, what's relevant today, not what's relevant 10,000 years ago in caveman days, what's relevant nowadays. And I think nowadays when women have their own money, they have mum and dad's house to live in, they don't need to marry a guy for the sake of marrying a guy so they can live in his house.
Wheat Waffles believes that women historically went for men with resources out of necessity, not from primal desire. Thus, when the social and economic pressures to pair up with men based on
Oh yeah, there's video from Sartain that I should maybe I want to react to. He did make a pretty good video, where he was like talking with his clients or whatever. Not sure if I would ever want to join Men of Action because like I'm not sure like how I'm not sure how expensive it is. I'm pretty sure it's like pretty. I'm pretty sure it like costs like something like $10,000 or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's probably catered towards guys that like are mostly wealthy. Oh, this was a good one. How to become attractive without hitting on women. This was the video that actually made me want to do this live stream because on this video, I don't know. He mentioned that like the way to get big on YouTube is to like start streaming regularly. He also said it's harder to get big on YouTube than it is on like Instagram or other platforms like TikTok or whatever. Which I agree with. Yeah, it's like it's much easier to get bigger on like Instagram or TikTok than YouTube. Like YouTube, you gotta do the right thing. Like you gotta like make the right videos that the algorithm likes or whatever. But I was gonna. Wait. I'm just gonna find where in the video he talks about it.
over that as much, but we are.
Why does it say the raw like count is 10? Okay, maybe that's just from the other video.
To build the organic, and when we build the organic, he's better on YouTube than I am. I'm better on Instagram than Owen is. Okay, actually, I think I'm probably better on Instagram than Marcel is too. But
we teach you in my space. We're going to teach you how to do this on TikTok and on Instagram and on YouTube. Instagram and YouTube, best places to sell a high ticket program. TikTok is a horrible, horrible place to sell a high ticket program. Nobody buys anything that's high ticket on TikTok. So,
I mean, I'm sure he knows his stuff about that. Interesting. It's like so like it's I wonder why that is. Why is it hard to sell more expensive stuff on TikTok? Probably just because they're so ADHD brain. They don't want to make like a big purchase that they really have to think about. They just want to make some like small purchases. Um, Instagram. I wonder why Instagram is a good place to sell high ticket. I mean, because Instagram is very short form content focused. Like it's probably even more short form content focused because like stories and like posts and all that are also, I guess, short form technically.
So TikTok is where you sell your $7 ebook that then is a tripwire for your high ticket program. We'll go over that if you guys want to go over that. That's what we go over in the program. But initially, what I try to teach you guys is to have a social circle that has so much abundance in it that you're able to use it to make money and you're able to use it in order to meet beautiful women. Do you guys know how I actually I met Owen because we were at Encore Beach Club one day, and he was with Alex, one of his older instructors. That's how I met Owen. That's how I met Mystery. That's how I met Matador. That's how I met a bunch of these guys. And then Owen's playmate girlfriend, CJ Sparks, I introduced them. So the two things I did was I pulled a girl in front of them, and then I introduced them to a beautiful woman and never asked them for advice. 3 hours long. It's you and your friend talking. It goes up on YouTube. YouTube is hard as it is hard to grow on YouTube right now.
I can confirm, yeah. It's, I mean, I got 26 subscribers. And I've been on here since like early February. So growth has been pretty slow for me, and I think I have like 18 videos. I'm gonna try to upload a video, like one video a week. But there's I guess I can think of some examples of people that have seen growth on YouTube recently. I mean, Show You Connects, my friend. I'm pretty sure when we like first met and we first did that like first podcast or whatever that we did, he he had only like maybe like 40 subscribers or something like that, like a pretty small amount. Now he reached 1K like a couple days ago, which was pretty cool. So I'm hoping that can happen to me. I'm hoping that one video I put out can like the algorithm will just like capture and just grow me exponentially. Like I'll keep just getting like subscribers, and the rate at which I will get subscribers will keep going up. It's like, but I feel like, definitely black pill looks maxing stuff is like the number one thing on YouTube in the manosphere right now. I feel like in terms of growth. So I want to make some videos that relate to the black pill for that reason, but I'm not sure exactly what I should do. Because I know that if I'm putting out just game stuff, which I'm into, but that's very niche. Like most guys don't want to hear about that. Most guys want to hear about like black pill stuff. They don't want to hear about like game, kind of like red pill advice.
Hard. I'll have months where I'll get 50,000 views a video, and then months where I'll get 2,000 views a video. Like YouTube is a fickle that really does not like you if you don't do exactly what they say. He who posts the most wins. Doing 8-hour live streams 5 days a week is kind of like the way to win on that platform.
He who posts the most wins. Yeah, I want to post some more. I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to make shorts though, because like I don't know. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, because I don't have pictures like videos of my face, and that's what works good for shorts. I don't know if people want to watch shorts of just like that are just like a 30-second clip of like my Google Slides presentations. But yeah, I wanted to stream more because like I guess that's a good way to grow. with YouTube and all that.
It's crazy how hard it is to grow on YouTube compared to other platforms. But if you go big on YouTube, you have more credibility than any other platform. Someone who is big on TikTok has zero credibility in my eyes. If you're big on TikTok, that all that means to me is that
Yeah, a lot of idiots just go big on TikTok, even though their content's just garbage.
you know how to pander to liberals. No offense if any of you guys are politically progressive, but all the way to go huge on TikTok is simply to pander to women who hate men, or to pander to any kind of like woke ideology, or to
Yeah, pandering to women who hate men is like big. Honestly, I wonder how good it would be like of like a good idea it would be to just, pander to women just to grow. It would probably work pretty well. Like if I just wanted to make some, what's that name of that guy? Like Chris GQ Perry, whatever the hell that guy's name is. Sartain talks about him a lot. He's just this guy that makes videos that just completely pander to women and all their delusions. Maybe I should try that. Maybe that's the number one way to get famous and rich these days. Oh yeah, and he also made a good point about like neurodivergence and autism in men. Wait. Mentioned Sydney Sweeney somewhere in there.
And so you're gonna learn this whole thing, and the problem is, as a woman, because of their neurotic tendencies, if they're still a 10, guys will.
Wait.
And so, because of that, it didn't warp my brain into always looking at the next thing. Like the last two girls I dated were both 20 years younger than me, and I just see them. They're just like stuck on they're stuck, and I have to be like, hey, let's be present. Stop being stuck. By the way, there's no exception to this. Any 21-year-old girl you guys date, they're all going to be like this. They're like stuck on their phone, and you have to figure out a way to get them off it. And so you're going to like.
I mean, it's not just it's not just young people that are addicted to screens these days. Also, boomers, that are even older than Sartain are getting addicted to their phones.
You're going to learn this whole thing, and the problem is, as a woman, because of their neurotic tendencies, if they're still a 10, guys will still date them. If you're a man and you have a bunch of neurotic tendencies, it doesn't make any difference that how funny or whatever you are. Like, do you understand? Okay, here's a really interesting way to explain this. Autism. For an average man, you probably will have a very hard, unless you work with like me or Owen, you're gonna have a hard time getting laid being a fully autistic man.
I completely agree with that. Yeah, like autism is probably one of the number one reasons guys are like incels. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Okay, it's difficult. There's massive disadvantages to you socially and dating wise if you're an autistic. If you're a fully autistic man, if you're a fully autistic woman, but you look like Sydney Sweeney, how is it going to hurt your dating life? Anybody?
Not at all.
Not at all. No one cares. No one will care.
I'm surprised how young all the guys here look. I would have thought like all of his. I don't know if these are his clients or whatever. I would have thought they would all be like closer to his age or whatever. I don't know. Why are they all? They look like they're all like probably none of them are like my age, like 19 or whatever. But they're probably all in their like 20s and 30s, and maybe a few in their 40s for the most part. It's just weird.
Remember I told you yesterday about me? I debate flat earthers. There's one thing that I found is that if you guys want to have a lot of fun with this, anytime you see a girl who's like platinum blonde and has really big fake boobs, just go up to her and be like, "How about that flat earth stuff, huh?" And then she'll look at you and you go, "You know too?" Yes.
I have to try that sometime. Yeah, interesting. Like, I don't know. I don't really encounter that many women that are like platinum fake blonde with fake boobs. I don't know if I see that often.
I know 4.
I guess in Vegas, wherever he lives, you see that fairly often.
That are flat earthers right now. It's why? Because they have the privilege of believing in this. And one of them, she's like, "Yeah, I went on a date with this guy, and I told him I was a flat earther, and he still wanted to me. It was so crazy." And this girl's like a playmate. I was like, "What? What are you talking? It must be because you have great energy. That must be why it is." The thing you guys have to understand is if you're all normal men. Some of you guys are good looking, some of you not so much.
Wait, was there one? Why being hated can make you more attractive? Oh, this is like another conference. Okay. I think I want to watch that later. Probably not in here because it's very long. Too long to watch that on here. I don't know. It says there are 3 people watching right now. If any of you have any suggestions for what I should watch, please leave them. Like, if you want to see something, just tell me. Okay. Brittany Renner has a meltdown, blames everyone. Who the hell is Brittany Renner? There's like a lot of evolutionary psychology people on here. What was this guy's name again? I forgot. There's like oh yeah, Steve Stewart Williams, another Evo Psych guy. Why is this why women leave nice guys? Yeah, you can see I watch a lot of Sartain. Even though, he trash talks like a cold approach and all that stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, Michael Sartain. His most viewed short's kind of funny. This was a good video.
You live in a country where a man transitioned to become a woman after winning a decathlon in 1980, and then after doing so, runs over someone, kills them, runs over a second person, and 4 months later is named Woman of the Year. You live in a country where a man spends 15 months in prison for securities fraud. In a movie they make about him, he punches his wife in the stomach and then kidnaps his own child. And all of you love that movie because I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. It's The Wolf of Wall Street. You guys know who is the face of prison reform in the United States? Who is it? It's Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian, who made us is the face of prison reform. If you don't believe me, Google right now Kim Kardashian standing next to President Trump having legislation signed while she's in the Oval Office. She made a state where she was having with Ray J, and now she's getting legislation passed, and you're worried about a meme that you're supposed to post. Status is status is status. Doesn't matter what you do. If you get
I agree with that. Let's see how many views does this have. That's 33 million views. It's crazy. Okay. I don't know who else should I react to. I titled the stream "Reacting and Chatting," but all I'm doing is reacting because there's really. Let's check out if there are any other articles on this website that we could check out. Let's see if there's anything. The dating coach virginity graph. Well, I'm 19 and I'm still a virgin. I don't know. I think when I lose my virginity, should I make a video about it? About how it went down and all that? I could say like I ascended from doing cold approach or whatever. That would be pretty good. The thing about my channel is like it's pretty rare that someone's gonna start like a self-improvement channel before they actually self-improve. Like a pickup artist kind of red pill self-improvement channel before they're actually like, before they actually succeed. I just think it'll be interesting. I don't know. It'll be interesting that like people will see me get better at this in real time, But I don't know. Dating coach virginity graph. So Dan Bilzerian lost his virginity at age 13. I mean, that's not surprising. Then mystery at 21. Interesting. What a big difference. At 13, that's far from the ideal age to lose it. Ideally, I don't know, probably the best for like, I don't know if people under 18 should be having sex anyways. I don't know if that's just me coping because like I never, had sex around that age or whatever, or ever. But at 19, I'm probably going to lose it before I turn 20, I bet. It's looking pretty close. You know, if I could keep up my rate of approaching, if I approach more women, eventually I'll probably get laid. I'll probably get laid like before I turn 20. I guess that's what he's counting as like a late bloomer, as someone who like lost their virginity at 20 or later. I guess 19 is like a normal age, like a somewhat normal age. You know, like probably most, um, like you know what to be seen as like a normal human. Probably you lose your virginity at like 16 or 17 or 18 or something. Um, but I don't think 19 is like crazy late. But I would identify as a late bloomer in a lot of ways, especially with you know like including with dating women. I just have no idea how you could lose your virginity at 13 or 14. Might be a generational difference, but like there's no way. Like there's no way I would have lost it at 14. At 14, like I don't even know if I would have been like ready to lose it, like emotionally speaking. Oh yeah, Mike from STEM to stud. Mystery 21. You know, I respect the guys that lose it later. You know, because like I guess I relate to them a bit more, but it's also because like they had to work on it and get better with it in order to, you know, not be virgins probably. You know, they weren't early bloomers like these guys or whatever. Get lean, get noticed, low body fat changes everything. Is Michael Sartain low body fat? I don't think he's that low body fat. He looks kind of like bulky. I don't know. I mean, he's definitely not a fat guy, but like I feel like he could be more lean maxed as well. But he's on TRT too. Um, I'm also not lean maxed. I don't think being lean maxed would make a big difference for me. Like that huge of a difference. Let's see if Turbo BP has anything interesting on their channel. Just a young sub 5 yapping over PowerPoint slides. I sorted by oldest because those are probably the ones I'm not as likely to have already seen. Well, there aren't even that many videos. Probably because like the videos like Turbo BP's videos take a long time to make because of like all the editing and stuff. Let's see. I don't know. Should I get off of live? I'm not sure. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover or watch. I don't know. I guess I'll just talk. I was kind of thinking about, you know, what I want, the direction I want this channel to go into. Am I gonna want to show my face, start showing my face and doing like IRL content? Probably. I've been thinking a lot about that. You know, it seems more fun in a lot of ways doing IRL content like infields and all that. I want to do some infield eventually. You know, I'm not too concerned about showing my face. I don't really have a problem with like, you know, having my face out there. But like it's just like, what if my content is really based around my face, then like someone might recognize me and might affect me IRL. I kind of doubt it would happen. Um because like it would take a long time for like it would take a lot of subscribers and a lot of a lot of traction in order for you to start becoming so famous that you get recognized IRL. It's just like, I don't know. Should I show my face? I probably will eventually. I'll do some like IRL content because that's like the number one way I'm probably gonna grow my channel is like transitioning into other forms of content like IRL stuff. Like these slides that I do. Um, these uh, I guess like PowerPoint, maybe more like Google Slides presentations. That's what I use. I guess they get them like, I guess they do okay, but I want to like do some more like IRL kind of content as well. Let's see. Oh, let's check out some infield. I don't know, playing with fire infield. Does he have a lot of it? He has like a lot of infields on his channel. Um, I'm trying to find like a shorter infield example. I'd say playing with fire is like the number one game guy I've learned from. I guess also like Marcus Wolf, A.G. Hayden, Avery Hayden, also influential. Maybe a little bit like of Todd V too, Marcus Wolf. If I probably mentioned him already. I don't know. I wonder what YBC2 Cold's infield looks like. He probably doesn't. He doesn't have it online, I don't think. But I wonder if it's any good. I know infield like videos don't actually do that well. I guess by IRL content, I mean just like content that I show my face with. But I guess if I could do like some like Meta Glasses Riz kind of content, that would be like like that could do pretty well, like on shorts or whatever. And that would technically be like a game infield, like even though most people that see it wouldn't even know what like about the game pickup community or whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to find like if he has any infield shorts. I guess I didn't want to watch like a whole video. Let's see. I don't know. I'm probably just gonna end the live in a second. But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. And yeah, unless anyone has any other things that they want me to react to or talk about.